Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mark. How's it going?
Pretty good. Where's Jeff?
Well, interesting story. I got an email from him, and I'll send it to you. I'll forward it to you later.
Okay.
But he is no longer with the podcast.
What do you mean?
Well, he thinks that we are constantly trying to take over the show and like one up him, and he said he's tired of us kind of cramping his style, so to speak. I'm paraphrasing, obviously.
What?
But yep. And since my name is on the copyright of the show, he has no options of taking it from us. So I guess from now on, what do we know is just what do we know.
Really? Whenever I answer the phone, I'm like, hello.
What pissed you off?
It's a great argument to have.
I love my mom, but I think she's half crazy for doing that.
How dare you?
Do you work with your girlfriend, Mark? Or your wife, Mark?
I keep them separated. Sometimes I call people, they don't answer the phone, I'm like, them.
Wrong number, click.
Well, he's not that smart. But sometimes he sounds like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Go.
Therefore, you're an ass, and I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah, but what do we know?
Damn it. I know Jeff
weird?
has like a lot of things going, like, oh, he's a nurse and he's a firefighter, and that's cool. But then he's doing like several other channels, so maybe he just, overworked or I don't know.
I don't know either. It's weird that he would, kind of throw us under the bus for all of it or whatever. But.
Maybe he just wasn't happy last time we had like Brian on, and he sort of invited him, but maybe he just doesn't like the dialogue between the two of us, or it wasn't like he didn't like me, right?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because actually I was kind of pushing him to get Brian on. Oh. So maybe he really thinks like I had some, ulterior motive to try to get Brian to replace him anyway or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I see. Well, that's okay. That's okay. Really, I think all our fans will agree. Who needs Jeff on our show? He's sort of dragged down anyways.
He was the anchor, for sure. So.
Well, I think our show, we're polarized, so, you would have an opinion, I would have an opinion, and then Jeff's sort of in between, and he didn't really, have much of an opinion. So.
Right, he just had goofy earphones.
Or the backdrop that's, just like a shower curtain or something with his gym equipment in the background.
You're right. He wanted to let everybody know he worked out, He was clearly the diva of the show. However, we shouldn't have a whole podcast just trashing Jeff for leaving. So.
Really? I think that's a great idea, just talking about...
Maybe that would be a good idea, actually, now that I think about it. By the way, speaking of the curtain he had in the background, why couldn't he ever properly secure it to the ceiling? It was always half falling down. And
Well, I want to really say that maybe he just didn't care about the show, because, I see his other shows on YouTube, and he has, a nice, proper background, and then whenever he comes and do our show, he's just screw it. I'll just use
it's all
whatever.
Haphazard. Right. We're the redheaded stepchild podcast.
Well, YouTube watchers and podcast listeners, we're not abandoning you. We're here for the long run, so...
That's right. And maybe we could get Brian to replace Jeff, at some point at a later date.
Yeah.
Couldn't make it happen today, because I literally just got this email last night, which for those of you at home, we just kind of record at random times whenever we all get availability, and then, release on our normal Wednesdays. So we had it planned that we were podcasting this morning, which is actually taking place on a Friday morning, and Jeff was going to be here until last night when I received this weird, crazy email.
Right.
So I don't know what happened. It was totally a weird thing. Did you pick up on any? I mean, you said you had the one little episode where you might have thought there was weirdness, but
yeah. Besides that, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't think it was anything too crazy.
Well, anyways, it's gonna be an interesting show because we're gonna play trivia, and trivia with just one person's a little less exciting, but I think it could still work out. So
we'll see how smart I am, I guess. This is going to be really embarrassing for me. You guys might be witnessing the last ever edition of this podcast, I guess. People are just going to stop watching because I get so many wrong. They'll be like, they'll say, well, actually, the name of the podcast was pretty aptly put because
right.
What does this guy know? So we'll see how that plays.
Okay, so let's do trivia. I have several facts for you, okay? And your job is to determine if they're true or if they're false, okay?
Okay,
True or false. The thing is, only one of these things are true. So I got like a list of 10 things, and you have to determine what one thing is true.
Okay, so there's going to be like 10 questions, but only one of them is true?
Well, they're not questions, but they're like facts. But you have to determine which fact is true. The others, total bullshit.
Okay. I'm ready.
So, alright. So the first fact is that caterpillars completely liquefy inside their chrysalis before they become a butterfly. So you know how they like get into their little cocoon?
Mm-hmm.
Well, while they're inside the cocoon, they basically putrefy, and they like basically break down to almost a cellular level or something like that before they become a butterfly.
Well, that's got to be false, right? Am I supposed to say true or false?
Yeah, you can say true or false now. I'll go over it one more time, and you can make your like final decision. But you.
Oh, I have to listen to all of them and then pick which one is true.
Well, you probably should.
Oh,
okay. But you know what? Okay, we'll just say this one you think sounds like bullshit. I made it off the top of my head. But it sounds like a pretty good guess.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Alright, let's see. Second one. Barnacles have the largest penis to body ratio of any animal on Earth.
Okay, so what's interesting to me about that one is that we had the weird duck conversation in that one episode.
Penises come up a lot in my facts trivia.
I was going to say, this is a disturbing trend with your trivia. Okay. I'm inclined to say false, but okay.
Okay, you think that might be false as well. Okay, taser.
Like the electrocution device thing that police have, or stun guns, or whatever.
Yeah, the stun guns or whatever.
Yep.
The last two letters, E and R, stands for electric rifle.
Okay. I would think that has to be false. Still looking for the true one, I think.
Okay.
Because I don't think the taser actually shoots anything. If I'm not mistaken, the taser is just like the hand unit.
Right. I think there's both kinds where like it's more like a cattle prod and one that shoots prongs.
Well, I don't think the one that shoots prongs is called a taser, but I could be wrong. I don't really know for sure, I guess.
Could mean emergency room. Because that's what it takes you, right?
That's where you're headed, yeah. I've actually never been tased, so I don't know. But, I mean, I've done a lot of other dumb stuff that has got me pretty significant jolts of electricity. So,
do you think if you went to a cop and just asked, like, I've never been tased, I would like to know the feeling, I would pay for the price of, like, the taser, whatever, cost? Do you think a cop would just help you out that way, or do you think you have to buy your own taser and tase yourself?
I
mean, they seem to just taser people left and right anyways.
Well, I feel like if you approach them, from that direction, like, I think most cops would be smart enough to know the potential is there for my heart to stop for whatever reason. So for like insurance reasons and safety reasons, they wouldn't do it. But there's idiots in every profession. So if you found the right cop, they probably would. Just start calling them names or something ahead of time, you know?
Yeah. It's like two approaches. You'd be very polite and ask the cop, or you could be a real jackass and they might oblige.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have a feeling the latter would probably be the most effective form of bargaining.
Okay, so you think that's bullshit. How about this? The word set, S-E-T, is the most versatile word in the English language. Dictionaries give it between 60 and 500 different definitions and uses. Between 60 and 500, which depends on the dictionary.
Set. Man, set does have a lot of meanings, but man, between 60 and 500 is a lot.
Oh, I mean, just 60 is a lot.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's a lot of definitions. I'm going to hold off judgment on that one. Okay. I'm not going to immediately call bullshit on that one.
Okay, so that's a maybe. Okay.
It's a maybe.
How about the distance from the Earth and the Moon? You can fit all the planets in between the distance from the regular distance between the Earth and the Moon.
Average distance?
So average, because the Moon actually comes closer and farther away.
Right.
And this, I'll even include Pluto in this as a planet. Pluto's not actually that big, so.
I don't believe that to be true.
Why is that?
Because I know, like, Jupiter and Saturn are, like, huge, but I guess I don't know how huge they are in comparison to the Earth from the Moon. Oh, this is an interesting one, too. I don't think so. But I guess I can wait on that one, too.
Well, I mean, just to maybe throw you off, McDonald's every once in a while says how many Big Macs they made and how many you could stack them from Earth to the Moon and back several times.
Right, and it's a lot, I know, but
okay,
right, I'm gonna wait on that one. I don't think that's true, but I'm gonna wait.
So you're gonna wait. Okay.
Yep.
There's a town in Pennsylvania, in the U.S. that has been on fire since 1962.
Define been on fire.
Well, it's a coal mining town. So the coal's maybe like a blaze, not like a forest fire, but basically, you have hot coals. Basically, it's been like hot coals.
Huh. I don't believe it.
1962.
That's a long time. I'm gonna say no to that one.
Okay.
I don't believe it because I feel like at some point, somebody would have put it out because they want the coal, right?
Right. Okay.
I mean, the whole point of a coal mine is to harvest the coal and use it for energy purposes. Why would you just let it stay ablaze? So I'm going to say false.
Oh, wait. What happened if I want to throw a math one in here?
Okay.
If you have 23 people in one room, just random 23 people in a room, there is about a 50% chance that 2 of the people in a room share the same birthday.
So, a 50% chance?
A 50% chance that 2 people out of 23 will have a shared birthday.
Here's my relationship with math. I got away from like algebra and stuff for a long, long time. I don't use a whole lot of it in my everyday existence.
Right.
Now, I have since fairly recently taken algebra classes in college, but because I went approximately 15 years without using it, it was almost like learning a foreign language over again. Like, it was so difficult for me to concept some of the more advanced things that I just hadn't worked with in forever. And my brain, being, of its 34 years at this point, isn't quite as sponge-like as it was when I was high school age.
Right.
So it's just like, man, it never really clicked back with me. When I was young, like, algebra made sense. I was very good at math. I was always in advanced math classes and geometry and all this kind of stuff. And I just got math. And I don't get math anymore. Like, it just doesn't click with me like it used to. So I'm sure there's some algebraic equation that puts it closer to 50% than I'm thinking it should be, but it screams false to just like gut reflex.
Okay.
So I'm going to go there, even though math is my constant arch nemesis, and it's probably there's some kind of trick to this question, but I'm going to say false on that one.
Okay.
Just because I hate math.
Just because you hate
math. That's the long and short of it. Math be damned, I'm saying false.
Okay, well, actually, when I was in college, I took really high-level math. And since college, I don't remember any of it because I never use it. So, like, even some high school stuff, yeah, you would throw me for a loop. Like, I remember when I was in high school, I had to learn SOHCAHTOA for trigonometry. And even when I got to college, they were like, you can't use the calculators anymore. So I was using the TI-82 calculator when I was in high school. And when I went to college and told me I couldn't use a calculator to do this kind of math, I looked at them and was like, how do you do math without the calculator? Like, I mean, I don't know what a sine or a cosine, what is it? And they had to explain, well, it's part of a circle, and it figures out. I was like, what? It's just a button you press on a calculator.
It's a button on the TI-82.
I did great on trigonometry with a calculator.
Right. No, that was exactly my experience with it. It was just like, I got back in that classroom, and up until that point, like, okay, so this was like one of the most discouraging experiences I've had as an adult, because generally speaking, most things like I set my mind to and really go after, I'm smart enough and just sort of I comprehend things well enough that I don't even want to say they're fairly easy, but I can generally, pick it up.
All right.
Math was an absolute struggle when I got back. It was so discouraging because no matter how many times I looked at these things and tried to figure things out, and I think another part of like doing algebra is just like how tedious it is to make sure you switch positive and negative signs in the right places. And you have to watch decimal points all the time. And if ever you forget to do that, it totally affects the outcome of everything beyond that point. So,
and math is a build-up class. So it's not like, let's say learning a foreign language or history class where you could learn parts and still at least do well in those parts. But in math, if you don't have your foundation and then the layer on top, it's like you can't do any of the higher level stuff. So yeah, it's tough.
Right. Yeah, it's one of those things where once you get lost, there's no just skipping past it and moving on, because you're going to come back to that step at some point, higher up. You need to know it.
My wife got a master's degree in theoretical mathematics, and I'm just like, what's the point? But
all of it is theoretical mathematics to me.
Right.
All of it is just like these weird things that don't really exist in space,
Like, if we have imaginary numbers and they don't exist, but if we give them set rules, this is how they would operate. It's like, oh. Like, there are certain kinds of infinity that are bigger than others, and it's like, how is that even possible? But they have rules for it.
Yeah, that concept doesn't
compute
in my brain, because infinity is infinity, but whatever. I've already discussed algebra way longer than I cared to talk about it ever again in my life. I think because I was just so that was not a fun thing for me to tackle.
Okay. Wait. Next trivia. Okay. True or false?
How many questions is that, by the way?
I think that was number 4. This will be number 5.
Okay.
Okay. Canned food was invented 48 years before the traditional can opener.
$48 years. Man, I feel like I heard something about this before. I don't remember like the actual numbers, you know, as far as years go. And I'm trying to think like if it makes sense, you know, for the tin can to be around 48 years longer than someone would think of a can opener, you know. But
You just bash it on a rock to open it. No, I think they use like the knife or whatever.
yeah, or like a plier type situation to just poke a hole in it or whatever.
Well, you know what my thing is? Why did it take so long to invent a can with the pop top? Like it's almost to me ridiculous that there are still cans being made without the pop top. Yeah, just insane to me.
I absolutely agree. In fact, on a fairly regular basis, like I take, you know, cans of soup or something to work with me for lunches. They're so easy because of that stupid pull can.
Right.
And by the way, it probably made the soup industry all kinds of money because without that, like if I have to struggle with finding a can opener every day, like I'm not taking soup to work. Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? I want to say that they had it for like cat food and dog food before like human food for a while. I don't know why I have that in my head. Because I could never remember using the can. Like, I wouldn't use a can opener to open my cat food. That just seems like you wouldn't want to share your can opener with that.
Okay. You bring up an interesting question. I've kind of often wondered this. So, whenever you wash or apply water to something that's made of metal, like it wants to rust.
Right, of course.
So I kind of always do this thing when I use a can opener where I'm trying to do the math, well, no pun intended, on how much of like the cutting edge of that wheel has actually come in contact with the food, because I'm not sure if I need to wash the thing, because I know I'm just doing damage to it over the long haul, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I never know if I need to wash that. It never looks like it has a whole lot of food on it, but it does puncture the vessel that this food is resting in, which means it makes it through to the quote-unquote contaminated part of the can.
So you don't wash it?
I do most of the time. I end up. But, I mean, if it's like a... I'm trying to think of a good example. But if it's something like... I don't know, where like refried beans or something, where when you open the can, like you can clearly see the top. Like the beans don't, if you turn it upside down, they don't fall down to the bottom. You know, they're they're where they are. And when you open it, you can see there's nothing on the top. Like then I might just kind of throw it back in the drawer. But if there's a liquidy substance in there, even though it doesn't look like it came in contact with the actual, because we just have one of the hand can openers. We don't have an electric can opener. But yeah, I struggle with that all the time because I know I'm just destroying our can opener.
Well, I'll give you the okay probably not to wash it, because I used to have the electric can opener and we never washed that.
You never wash that. That's right. And I don't know why I've never thought of that before. Because for all the weird ways that we didn't spend money when I was growing up on like normal things that anyone would think is a good way to spend money, we wouldn't invest in that because it was too expensive. But we had an electric can opener, which I always thought was strange. But you're right, we like never wash that thing. So, all right, I got way off track here. But what was the question again? Oh, the can
The
opener.
can opener invented 48 years before the invention of the canned food was invented 48
Right.
years before the can opener.
I feel like that could be true because you can like open anything sharp will open a can,
Yeah.
and I feel like there was a lot of hatchets back in the day. Like the ratio humans to hatchets was much higher back then, I think. So that's a maybe for me. I'm gonna say maybe.
So your ideal of like primitive man, in the sense of canned food, is I got a can. I want to just
And a
use my hatchet to lop off the top.
Well, not lop off the top, but all you got to do is get a hole in the thing, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, I suppose. Okay,
Oh,
next trivia.
it's true.
Right, so this was a good one because it's topical.
I'll be-
Trivia means 3 roads in Latin.
I hate this one because it could very well be true, but I know nothing about Latin. I mean, pretty much all. I don't want to say all. Many, many words that we just don't know the root origins of are something like that, where it makes sense when you find them out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like karaoke, for example, means like empty orchestra in Japanese or something like that. Like,
I don't think that's Latin though.
no, it's not Latin for sure, but it's wherever we take the
Word from, okay.
Trivia, and oh man, that one could be true, and it might have just jumped to the top of my leaderboard.
Okay. All right, don't think too much on it. The next,
Yeah, all right,
I'll give you the next one.
yeah.
Venus flytraps comes from North Carolina. It's the only place where they naturally occurred on Earth. So, like, if you go to Brazil and you see a Venus flytrap, somebody took a Venus flytrap from North Carolina and planted it there.
Oh, okay. So I just recently
Oh no.
read or heard something about. Well, fortunately, I'm an idiot and I don't remember the exact specifics. I do know that there is a large, at least a vast majority of Venus flytraps come from North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that to be true. Now, 100% of them?
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not
originally,
sure.
they don't naturally occur anywhere else on Earth.
I was actually, when I heard this thing, I'm trying to remember where I heard it from now. But I was kind of surprised because I have family in North Carolina. And in fact, I'm leaving pretty soon to go down to North Carolina. I've been there many, many times in my life. And when I heard that, I couldn't figure out why I didn't know that already. Because it actually, the place, like I think it was a swamp or something where they naturally grow,
Right.
is not that far away from where my relatives are. So the fact that I've driven through, these areas so many times and I'd never heard it just kind of blew my mind.
See, I've been to North Carolina several times, and I have never seen one like growing naturally. Now, maybe you have to go like down by the bayou and get into the swamps. I
was
don't know
gonna
where
say-
they occur, but
Yeah, again, it goes back to me not remembering all the details of this thing, but I want to say like it was a reasonably small section of North Carolina where these grow, and it's more over like towards the coastal areas, a little inland, but towards the coast. Definitely not up in the mountains if I recall correctly. Man, but I don't remember if it was 100%. That seems like. I hate the 100% part of this question.
yeah.
I hate that part. If you'd have said vast majority, I was all over it. Okay, so that one jumped to the top of my leaderboard now.
Okay. All right. So let's see. This is number 7, I think. Is it 7?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's 7. Alright, here we go. Some turtles can breathe through their butthole.
I want that to be true. Really do. Okay, so
So that one didn't jump out at you as a
didn't jump out. I haven't listened to any turtle butthole facts recently. Well, I know like a lot of aquatic animals can just breathe through weird places, so I don't hate this one. It's not moving ahead of the Venus flytrap one.
No.
Well, and also it sort of brings me back to, and I guess the person could have been messing with me, but someone at work many years ago who was like a chicken farmer told me that chickens do like everything through one hole, lay eggs and
they do.
and have sex, and so like, you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility that a turtle could breathe through its butt, I guess.
You know these sex chickens? They go sexting chickens, like determine if it's a male or female by looking at their butthole when they're little chicks, and that's how they determine male or female.
I didn't know that.
It's a specialized occupation, and as far as like documentation goes, they don't know how people know the difference. But it's sort of like you can tell male and female. You get trained, you can tell male and female chickens, but they can't describe what makes them male, what makes them female. They just sort of know. That's like the stupidest thing that I've ever heard. Like, I know how to do something, but I can't tell you how.
Huh. Where did you hear that? Just curious.
I heard it on, I think, NPR.
Huh. That's weird. I gotta look into that.
I would assume it's something like if we were colorblind and somebody could tell you the difference between like red and green, and you're like, well, I'm looking at the pictures, I can't tell the difference. Can you explain? I can't explain. Just one is red, one is male, one is female. I think that's sort of how it is, but that's probably really not how it is.
It sounded good. It sounded really good. You sounded like you knew what you were talking about. I bet that's what Jeff is going to do for a living now that he's not doing this podcast. He's going to
chicken sexter.
Yeah. All right. That was my last shot at Jeff, I think.
Okay.
I think. No promises.
You're not pissed off at him at all.
No, I don't hold a grudge.
Okay.
Although
go ahead.
It'll be really interesting to see if he responds on his first podcast that he records. Of course, he does so many, I don't even know where to look for it. But none of the listeners to this listen to that anyway.
Yeah, you wouldn't listen to him anywhere else.
You don't want to do that.
Okay,
right,
next fact. Have you seen 3 Men and a Baby?
Many years ago, but yeah.
Do you know who the director was? It was Leonard Nimoy.
Leonard Nimoy. Okay. Man, I don't remember anything about, like, wasn't Ted Danson in that movie and Magnum P.I.?
Yeah.
What is his name? Do you remember?
No, I don't. But my uncle met him once. Like, he was building fixing his house or something like that.
And the other guy that I can't remember his name now. Clearly they've gone on to do great things since then because I can't remember any of them. I don't think that's true.
Okay.
I don't buy it.
Alright. This is, I think, number 9? Alright. Miss Piggy and Yoda were both voiced by the same man.
Miss Piggy and Yoda. I like what you're doing with these questions. Because I feel like back then, probably all puppets were made by the same,
I think
production
Jim Henson Studio, I believe.
Yeah. And because of that, I feel like they might have even had like their own voiceover type people for them. Probably the people who work the puppets, maybe. I don't know. I've never really thought about this, I suppose. But there is like, and I guess that what makes a good trivia question in the first place is there's like some element of truth to it where it could possibly be true, which is why I like what you're doing, because it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that the same person, did the motions and voiced those two. However, I don't think so. I don't like that one.
No.
I don't. No. I think that's false.
Okay. And then number 10, last one. The gender-neutral term for niece and nephew is nibbling.
Nibbling? What? Okay. Why would you need a gender-neutral term?
Well, I mean, we have one for brother and sister.
We do?
Yes.
What is
Your
it?
sibling.
Oh, gotcha.
So niece and nephew is
Nibbling.
nibbling.
Huh. Oh, I like what you're doing here. I like what you're doing here. Man, I still... So that could totally be a thing, because we have all these weird words. And I have never, ever thought of a gender-neutral term or a time that I would need to use it in conversation for my niece or nephew.
Could you imagine, like, talking to your wife, oh, I want to go see my nibblings.
No, I can't ever imagine saying that. Nibbling. But you would probably only use it, like, in a plural sense. If you were talking about a group.
Mm-hmm.
Nibblings. So...
A gathering of nibblings.
Go hang out with all my nibblings. So, it could be true, but I don't like it as much as I like the Venus flytrap one, I don't think. That Venus flytrap one is going to bite me in the butt. There's probably like someplace equidistant from the equator on the southern hemisphere where these stupid things grow too. I'm going to go false on that one.
Okay. Do you want me to go through them one more time real quick, or are you
Sure.
ready? Okay.
You can go through them one more time. Let me make sure I don't change my mind.
Okay. So, first one is that caterpillars liquefy in their chrysalis before they become butterflies.
False.
Barnacles have the largest penis-to-body ratio for any animal on Earth.
False.
Taser, the last two letters of taser is an acronym for electric rifle.
False.
Set is the most versatile word in the English language, between 60 and 500 different definitions and uses for the word.
I forgot about this one. 60 is a lot.
Yeah, 60 to 500. 500 is a lot.
All I have to do is qualify 60, though, and then it's a true statement. But I can't think of 60. Like, I can think of a lot, but a lot of definitions for it, but 60 is too many. False.
False. Okay. All the planets in the solar system could fit in the average space between the Earth and the Moon.
False.
That one's false as well.
Venus and Saturn are too big.
Okay.
So is Neptune.
In a town in Pennsylvania, There has been a fire since 1962.
False.
False.
False. Somebody would put it out.
If there are 23 people in a room, there is a 50% chance 2 of them share the same birthday.
False.
That one also false. Of course, your math isn't that great, so who knows?
Right. Yeah, judging by... I'm going on nothing there. Except for... See, this is where I get into trouble. Like, if there's 23 people in a room, it seems to me that odds say you would need much more than that to make it likely that someone has the same birthday. But again, there's probably some weird math thing that I just don't know that makes it so that it's likely, but whatever.
Okay.
I'm going to say
Canned food was invented 48 years before the can opener.
Oh, I don't like that one. That one could be true. That one could be true. I feel like they had screwdrivers around for a really long time, too.
Screwdrivers.
Maybe not screwdrivers. They had
You got like hatchets and screwdrivers, anything to open the...
spears. Like, you can use a lot of things to open a can. A pointy rock. Those have been around for a really long time, too. Pointy rocks.
Right?
Oh, man. False.
Okay.
You know what? I'm probably getting myself in trouble here because I heard some weird fact about a Venus flytrap in the state of North Carolina at one point, and now I've jumped to the conclusion that all Venus flytraps are from North Carolina, right. And it's totally skewing my vision away from the right one, which very well could be that stupid can one. All right, proceed.
Trivia means 3 roads in Latin.
Oh, I hate this one too. Oh, my brain hurts. This one could so be true. I'm still stuck on the Venus flytrap. Haha, did you see what I did there? That was a pun.
I see.
Three roads. Okay. So the 3 roads thing, I feel like probably the first time anyone decided that there needed to be a word for trivia, it was probably just between 2 choices instead of 3. So that, to me, makes that one false.
Okay.
Sounds good, right?
Venus flytraps come from North Carolina, and they only occur naturally there.
I like that one a lot. So I'm going to... Right now, that's my choice, but I want to hear the rest of them.
Okay.
Again.
Some turtles breathe through their buttholes.
False.
False. Okay. Leonard Nimoy directed 3 Men and a Baby.
I totally and I don't know where I came up with this from, but all of a sudden, and I didn't get this the first time you talked about it, but all of a sudden I feel like Ron Howard directed that. False. I think it's false.
Okay. Miss Piggy and Yoda were both voiced by the same man.
False. Man, the voices... Hold on, now I'm trying to hear Yoda's voice, because Miss Piggy's voice is really high, but you can definitely tell like it's somebody who is not working with a super high voice making their voice super high. False. I'm still going false.
Okay. And the gender-neutral term for niece and nephew is nibbling.
Nibbling. I like this one. This is my favorite one. I want this one to be right. Because then I'll start using it in conversations all the time. Just for no reason. I have no reason to talk about my nieces and nephews, but I'm going to say, I bet my nibblings would love that. Just all the time. but I'm going to say false.
Okay. So so the one that
Venus-
you think is true,
Going with the Venus flytrap naturally occurring in North Carolina.
and all the others are false.
Correct.
Well,
The suspense is killing me.
you are right that Venus flytraps do come from North Carolina and only occur there naturally.
Boom.
Boom. But there's something you should know.
What? All of them.
All of them are true.
Wow.
And I was really nervous that you would catch on that they are all true, but
Those are all true. There are some that are really hard to believe in that.
right. So I could explain some of them. So let's see. Caterpillars do liquefy inside their chrysalis, and I remember the first time I found out about it online, and it just blew my mind. And there's actually on YouTube, there's a time-lapse video where you can see inside and see what happens, and it's disgusting. And for the longest time, I didn't even believe that it was true, even though I saw a time-lapse video. I was like, oh, somebody just recreated something. But yeah, I mean, if you look up how that actually happens, it's a weird path of evolution. All right. Barnacles do have the largest penis-to-body ratio. They can be up to 40 times longer than its body. Their penis.
Huh. I don't even know what to say about that. I've
Jealous?
never considered it, I suppose.
TASER is an acronym for Thomas A. Swift's electric rifle.
Huh.
And it says here it starts as a fictional weapon, but I don't really know. Of course,
Okay.
that depends on the dictionary, but it can have between 60 and 500 different definitions, and uses. But if one says more than 60, then that's pretty much true. Apparently the moon distance from the Earth can vary quite a bit, where it wouldn't be true where all the planets could fit, but on average, because the moon actually goes out far enough, where you could fit all the planets, including Pluto, just barely, as long as they're like touching end to end.
Huh. That's crazy.
The Pennsylvania one is true. Basically what happened was one of the coal mines caught on fire, and before they could get enough firefighters to put out a large portion of it, it just kept, and they haven't been able to put out the coals. So it just even if they sprayed it down with a hose, it'll still be hot enough in other places where it would just continue burning. So they just been letting it burn.
I feel like, I don't know, I guess I would have to see this, but couldn't you just shovel a gap? So the way...
If you think about it though, a lot of coal mines are in mountains, right? So
Right.
think of a whole mountain where a chunk of it's basically burning slowly. It'd be really hard to put out. And it says here that it inspired the movie Silent Hill.
Oh, okay.
And the math
I've
does...
seen that movie, actually.
Yeah. And the math does work out for 23 people in a room where there's a 50% chance of two of them share the same birthday. I actually did this. We did this in math class in 7th grade, I think. So that tells you what level of math you have to get this answer. But maybe you just
Which I don't possess, apparently. Yeah.
I want to say that it's probably greater than 50%. If you believe that, I think this is basically of all possible birthdays and the number of people, it's about 50%. But it's probably greater than 50%, saying that a majority of people are born within like a short distance, like I don't know which months, but like I
like
think
September and
months,
August
or something like that. Yeah, yeah. Canned foods were basically opened with like sharp objects, like a knife and bayonet
or rock.
Before the can opener was invented. Trivia means 3 words. So the try means 3.
3 roads.
And via must mean roads. I'm not 100% sure.
Huh. Oh, try. Oh my goodness. I can't believe I didn't think of that. I feel really dumb.
And it's Latin, and it comes from the Romans, because when 3 roads met, that's where they would like set up their news for the empire. So like that's where you get all your information, at the 3 roads meeting. That's why that was chosen.
That is so embarrassing. If I sit and think about that now, via 3. Like, I mean, literally, that's, try is 3 and via is by way of.
Yeah.
I feel like a complete idiot.
Okay, so Venus flytraps only occur naturally in North Carolina. And if you think about how evolution works, why would it actually evolve anywhere else? Like, you could have similar plants with the same characteristics, but genetically, Venus flytraps could only really occur in one area. I see a child.
It's over.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
I'm podcasting. You want to be a guest host for a couple minutes here while we're finishing? All right, come here. My little one's homesick today, so for the listeners at home, I have I thought he was going to co-host, but apparently he's just going to meander around in the background.
Man, he has curly hair. Like, I think you used to have curly hair when you were younger too, but it doesn't look that curly now.
When we were like twins, like when I was that age, I have pictures I can find at some point, and if I remember, I'll show you guys on a podcast at some time. But me at that age and him at that age are like identical. Poor kid.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he'll get some of Carrie's traits when he gets a little older.
Carrie's good looks.
Turtles. Some turtles do breathe through their other hole because maybe it's a way to conserve energy. They theorize, but I don't really know why.
I was gonna say, I feel like of most animals, turtles are the least needy of conserving energy because they're so slow to begin with.
That's
like
true.
They don't really expend that much, do they? So they've moved into my probably top 3 list of like world's laziest animals at this point. Maybe not top 3. Yeah, they're probably close. Like I'm looking at you, sloth and panda bear.
Oh, I love sloths. Like, I don't know how they evolved to not be like eaten all the time, but
Yeah, I don't either.
Leonard Nimoy did direct 3 Men and a Baby. He also directed a couple other movies. I know for a fact he made one of the Star Trek movies, the one with the whale.
I knew that too, actually, but I didn't know he did the 3 Men and a Baby.
Miss Piggy and Yoda were both voiced by Frank Oz. He did Fozzie Bear, Cookie Monster, and Grover. And yeah,
It makes sense
Oh,
now
go
that
ahead.
you say that. But I was just going to say, like, when I think about Fozzie Bear and Grover and Yoda, I would have probably guessed that they were the same person. And like I said when I was talking about it earlier, like Miss Piggy, you can tell it's somebody with a deep voice trying to do a high voice, so it makes sense.
And of course, somebody must have decided the gender-neutral term for nieces and nephews as nibbling.
Nibblings. I like that word. It's a good word. So, well, does that wrap us up?
Yeah, that sure does.
I think that wraps us up. But first we have to say happy April Fool's Day to everyone. And Jeff isn't going anywhere. He'll be back.
Oh, the listeners were fooled as well. Today's a really tricky day. Yeah, so Yeah, Jeff didn't write any letter. He couldn't make this podcast, and I'm sure he gives his love and regards to all you watchers and listeners. But he'll be back hopefully for the next show.
Yeah, hopefully. We just had a scheduling issue. No big deal. He's not really. Well, he's kind of a diva, but not really that. Not yet, anyway. Maybe that's to come.
Right.
Perhaps this was foreshadowing.
Ooh.
Huh?
Yeah, when he hits it big, then he'll leave us in his dust.
Right. I have a feeling if he does hit it big, it won't be on this podcast. So, all right, guys. Well, from my little co-host here and Mark, happy April Fool's Day.
Happy April Fools. Next
See you
time.
guys.
Do you invite people to hang out? Is it a group conversation? So, Mark, I'll invite you.
I'm waiting for something to happen.
Mike Jernigan, I'll invite him as well.
Oh shit, Jeff's back already. I still got to go get a beer.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
And we know what it is. Hold tight, Mark.
Mark needs
Ready
to watch
to live.
this.
Get ready to live.
Mark has no sense of humor.
None. How dare you, Mark?